AstraZeneca has agreed to buy the Actavis-branded respiratory drug business in the United States and Canada for an initial £395 million. But the news coincided with the firm reporting weak fourth-quarter earnings. The respiratory drug sector is a key area for AstraZeneca. The firm's predicted a 75% jump in annual sales to £30 billion by 2023. However, profit before tax for the year was down 62% to £1.25 billion. The shares, though, have climbed more than 40% over the last 12 months, and they were buoyed, of course, by that ultimately fruitless takeover approach from Pfizer. The number one UK pharmaceutical company, GlaxoSmithKline, also reported its full-year results yesterday. Its turnover fell 10% to £23 billion. Well, let's talk about those figures more now with the drugs and biotech analyst Dr. Lucinda Crabtree, who's from the stockbrokers Panmure Gordon. Lucinda, both of these big companies really facing headwinds in all kinds of directions.
Well, yeah, I think we're in a slight sort of trough period, but we've known that for quite some time in the wake of sort of patent expirations and generic competition and so forth. But I think it's important we focus on the longer term prospects of both of these companies. We know AstraZeneca has been quite innovative in terms of their earlier stage discovery programs, and actually it was quite encouraging to listen to GSK on their analyst call yesterday, where they were also sort of touching on some of those kind of earlier stage opportunities beyond the respiratory portfolio. The two companies have quite different structures, if you will, and focuses, but I think actually, you know, it was quite sort of positive on both fronts in a longer term view.
So what do you make of this acquisition that's AstraZeneca announced today?
Well, I mean, you know, in part of the press release they did hint on deceleration of one of their key respiratory assets. Clearly they're looking to sort of broaden their respiratory portfolio. I think that's quite canny. They have done previous respiratory deals last year as well. So I think this is about, you know, broadening the opportunities. It's quite a crowded market. It's quite a competitive market. We know there's pricing pressures in the US. So, you know, for them, I think it's a case of just sort of expanding the opportunities and the opportunities for future market share.
Now, what about GSK? Obviously, last year they announced this rather complicated asset swap with Novartis, taking them out of cancer, I think it was, wasn't it, and into other areas. Yeah. A strategy that is working in your view?
Well, I mean, the transaction needs to complete the first half of this year. You know, I think on all fronts they're clearly sort of got a slightly different focus from AstraZeneca. I mean, there are some comparables, particularly in the respiratory space. You know, GSK has a consumer health business and a vaccine business it's focusing on. But I don't think they're moving out of oncology entirely. I think, you know, if you look down at their earlier stage assets and some of their earlier stage opportunities, I don't think this is an area they're sort of divorcing themselves from. I think the key really, and just to emphasise, you know, for both companies, it's sort of driving innovation for the future and ensuring in that earlier stage portfolio that they're sort of garnering the right opportunities for longer term growth.
Let's have a look at the share price for AstraZeneca. Obviously flattered by, that's how it's done today. I mean, the longer term picture, of course, that unwanted bid from Pfizer. Pascal Soriot, really, is he delivering on the promises that he made during that bid when he was trying to keep the business independent? Well,
they've been very sort of explicit in terms of what they're planning to do and what their longer term strategy is, and I think we're seeing that, you know, in terms of sort of the press release today and you know, some of the sort of deals that they've done and sort of the earlier stage discovery type collaborations that they're doing. So I think he is, yeah.
And very, very briefly, Lucinda, the government obviously set up a committee headed by Jim O'Neill, the economist, to tackle this looming crisis in antibiotic resistance. Do you think the industry is responding to this well?
I think it is, yeah. I mean, it's starting to. We're starting to see some sort of activity in the antibiotic space. I mean, clearly, you know, that part of this you know, area is to sort of drive innovation. I read somewhere they're talking about, you know, the possibility of driving an innovation type fund to sort of encourage earlier stage development. We are seeing some activity, and you know, I look forward to seeing progress in that space.
Okay, Lucinda Crabtree from Panmure Gordon, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Next on Ian King Live.